Hey guys, it's Ryan, and today I thought we would look into something that I've always been quite partial to, but trying to take it to a whole new level with the ATEM and with a few other pieces of equipment I have, and that is cable management. And we're gonna take a look at what I've done with the ATEM because I was just so sick and tired of the mess of cables coming off the back of that thing. So there's a couple different ways you could do it, but I'll show you what I did and give you maybe a couple of other options that might work for your situation. So let's take a look. So really anybody who has any type of equipment in their studio is going to run into the problem of cable management. Yes, we all have to deal with this. Even now, all over my floor here, I've got cables because that's just how it is in a studio, and especially a one-man studio where it's just you, because, you know, it's not really that important to clean up because no one else is coming in to use the space. So it tends to get cluttery, and I thought I'd just show you, like I said, what I've done with the ATEM and maybe a couple of other ideas for proper cable management in your studio. These aren't perfect, these are just what I found, and you know, doing this for 20 years, there's a couple of key little things that can help. So first off, let's take a look at what I did with the ATEM. So those of you who have an ATEM, you probably are very familiar with this site. This is how it looks. Every time you got stuff plugged in, there's mismatched cables. They don't really look that professional, but they all go everywhere off the back of your ATEM. So what I decided to go to with the ATEM is this guy right here. So this gives us a very clean look coming off the back of the ATEM. And I'll show you guys this direction too, where everything is plugged in. We've got it all. We've got all of our HDMIs, all 4 in and 1 out. We've got our power and our Ethernet and a USB-C and 2 audio outputs here. Now you're probably like wondering, you know, where do these go? And I decided to use these cable ties that we all know, the Velcro cable ties, and tie them all together like this so that they terminate at the other end into this little like grouping of cables. And it's not really much if you look at it. And everything's six feet long. About, I'll show you one thing that said it was 6 but wasn't quite. So we've got our power out here, which is, you know, this just kind of has to be what it has to be unless you want to terminate a different connector on the end of this cable and extend it a little bit further. We've got our Ethernet, and I did this just because this was the length of Ethernet cable I have, but Ethernet really isn't that difficult to make, so you can make a custom length pretty simple. And then we've got these guys at the end. And as you can see on this end, these are all actually just extenders. Everything on here is an extender except for the Cat 5, or I think this might be Cat 6, and the power. So I've got my 4 inputs and my 1 output. I've got the 2 audio jacks over here, and this right here is just a USB-C extension, so I can pop this USB-C jump drive in and go to town, and it works. I mean, it notices that, or it picks it up, and it works just fine. So this is kind of nice because it all is just in one big roll, and I can just kind of roll it up like this, and that is my ATEM setup, and it just goes with me like that. Perfect. The other nice thing about this is you can just have this coming off the desk, right? It looks like this coming off the desk and not some kind of crazy mumble jumble of cables. And then this end here, the other end just kind of sits on the ground and gives you all your HDMI ins and 1 out and audio ins. And then you can run your separate HDMI cables out to your whatever cameras you have around the shoot. Now this one, this USB-C, this and the power weren't quite the same length as the others. So the audio and HDMI cables here, these were all the same length. So I was able to kind of, yes, that's just gaff tape, but I gaff taped them together. And then this USB-C extension and the power were just not Not quite the same length, but that's okay, because then I can have this guy out like this, and I didn't put a coupler on the end of the Cat 5. You can do that to extend the range. At some point I was going to kind of cut it to the same length as these guys, but it's okay because I think it actually works out pretty well like this. And I'm going to leave this little bit of Cat 5 here because I want, then I can just run it to wherever I need to, whether it be to my computer or if I need to run it to a switch or something like that, I can always just put the switch next to this, plug it right in. Now, is this the most eloquent thing? You know, it's actually quite nice. The cable ties, these Velcro cable ties work wonders. It's pretty, don't get me wrong, it's pretty. I haven't really noticed much. I think I gotta loosen this one down a little bit so it stays plugged in. It looks pretty good, I think, and I like the way that this version came out. Now, this is version 1. Obviously, there will be some tweaks and stuff to this in the future that you guys should subscribe to see because you're going to like it. But these, just with some cable ties, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cable ties on this. And cable ties are super cheap, especially these Velcro ones. I'll link them down below, the ones I got off Amazon here. But I think it actually looks pretty good. And we're gonna take this is kind of our first step in this cable management, and that is these Velcro ties. They are a lifesaver. If you don't have any, pick them up because it's gonna just change your life completely. I think one of the biggest things I love about this setup is that it keeps your desktop nice and clean, and especially when you're with a client, it keeps everything up top nice and clean, and all the mess can be down below, back underneath, behind curtains, or behind a tablecloth or something like that. That's where it can all plug in, and kind of the messy bits of it can be under there, out of the way, and everything looks nice and clean up top, and it makes for a lot better environment, in my opinion. Now, just a couple of other tips to give you as far as cable management goes. Now, let's say you don't have any cable ties. What can you do then? Well, there's 2 different things that I usually do, and one's okay, one's probably not the best. The one that's probably not the best, I got this long, I want to say it's like a 10 to 15 foot TRS to TRS cable, is since this is kind of thin, I'll just roll it over like that and tie it. It's not the best, I admit, because this kind of gets kinked, but everything's nice and tight. You know, it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to come unbundled or anything like that. So that's a good way to do it. If you've got a shorter cable, like this is just a little 18-inch cable, you can roll them around. Let's see. I'll do it over here. You can roll it around. You can kind of roll them in like this and just tuck them into each other. So it ends up being like this. Now this will come out eventually. You can't hold it like this forever, but it keeps it pretty secure when you're just throwing it in a bag. Another suggestion I would give you is use cable trays. Now these are trays that go underneath your desk, and they have just a little channel that you can run all your cables through. They have a kind of an exit on one side, so you can run your cables through there, and it makes everything nice and clean coming off your desk. There's no cables hanging down underneath. And the last suggestion I'd give you is, if you have a lot of cables going in the same direction, tie those cables together. Tie them up nice. If you've got the cable ties, those work great. Flip them the other way around so the Velcro or the harsh Velcro side is on the outside, and they'll actually stick to your carpet, so they'll kind of keep them in place. And doing this makes sure that all the cables that go to a specific place are all bundled together. So if you have to unplug something, you can just wrap them up and all the cables stay together and they don't get in a big jumbled mess, which I have a lot of cables back behind a rack over here, and it makes all the difference in the world if you do that. Another thing to consider is gaff tape. Gaff tape is a cloth-based tape that Doesn't leave a residue at first, so if you're taping something down temporarily, it'll work great for you. If you're looking for something more permanent, you can go to Home Depot and get something from 3M called Extreme Mounting Strips. And they're kind of like Velcro, except both sides are a plastic, and they have teeth that hook together, but the teeth don't prick you like Velcro does. Well, guys, I think that was probably the shortest video I've ever done, and you know what? That's just fine. So, hope you guys liked it. Hope that gave you some ideas on how to manage your cables, and I think that if you just follow these couple little steps, you can make your studio look amazing. So if you like this video, go ahead and subscribe and turn that bell on. It'll let you know when we upload new videos, and we've actually been doing a stream every week on Thursday nights. That may change in the future, but as of now, Thursdays are working great for us. Join us on there. It's really fun. We just go over a few, things here and there. I usually have 1 or 2 topics I want to cover, and then we do a Q&A, so definitely tune in for that. If you have any questions about cable management, ask me in the comments below. I come by and I answer as many as I can to the best of my ability. I usually get it 60% of the time, maybe 50. We'll see. But thank you guys again for watching, and we will see you in the next one.